Hi people, more innovation book here again as always and as usual. Yeah, I haven't done a geolocation chart video in a while, so I thought let me just get to it. And if you look into the top right corner, you can see which country I will be covering. This is the info/geolocation chart on the nation of Nigeria. There is no specific reason I cover this video. It just seemed like a good idea considering the fact that Nigeria is unique in a specific manner. I mean, all countries are unique, but within a specific context, you'll see what I'm getting at. I think people already know what I'm getting at, but again, let's just look into the details of it, and especially for people that are at least at a base level knowledgeable on astrology, it is fascinating to see. Now, first up, the ascendant is ruled by Taurus. You've got Jupiter in Taurus in the 12th house, conjunct the ascendant, and Uranus is also conjunct the ascendant, also in the same zodiac sign, so Taurus. What all of this means, essentially, Jupiter specifically means that Nigeria has, for starters, it has a decent amount of bodies of water running through it. Think of large rivers and whatnot. Not a lot, but a couple, to put it that way. For the most part, it is dry, statistically. Dry or tropical, if you will. So non-wet. And Uranus there stands for, Jupiter also conjunct the ascendant, stands for the fact that Nigeria is larger than the average country. If you compare the average country to Nigeria, Nigeria still forms a considerable landmass. Generally speaking, mind you, generally speaking. So not including exceptional countries that are super big. Uranus in Taurus, also conjunct the ascendant, stands for the fact that Nigeria's geographical landscape contains uneven points. Uneven in the sense of hills, mountains, and whatnot, and then you've got flat terrains, and it just goes on. Nothing extraordinarily big or large, but still there are differences in terms of soil density. It's not an even playing field, literally and figuratively. Okay, the land isn't even, as in it's just some flat savanna-based terrain. No, it is. It has the aforementioned. Now, the moon in Gemini in the second house stands for the fact that, especially pertaining to women, but overall to the population, daily life and specifically earning an income revolves around communication. It revolves around commuting, simply going about daily life and dealing with traveling short distances, going to work and then back home, which is nearby, hustling. You name it, anything of a so-called small-time nature. Okay, anything that isn't heavy-handed in nature, to put it that way. So just daily life and its dealings. That's how an income is garnered for the population of Nigeria in general. Specifically, especially women, to put it that way. But the population overall. Now, the Earth is in the Earth is 29 degrees in Leo. And it is in the house that the moon rules over, the 4th house, or the house of Cancer. And the fact that the Earth is there, 29 degrees in Leo again, stands for what the population wants in general. The average Nigerian wants not only a stable, consistent household, but a stable nation as a whole, as opposed to what is currently present. And that's why, as is traditionally or always the case, better said, it opposes the Sun, which is an Aquarius in the 10th house, dealing with authority figures, and it also opposes, let me see, does it oppose thing? Yeah, it also opposes Mercury. This, in essence, simply stands for the fact that the population isn't getting that from the government. The government and its mismanagement of the country as a whole in general, or generally speaking, makes it so that life for the average Nigerian is quite unstable and inconsistent in terms of being able to thrive as a human being. It's more a struggle for survival. We've got in the 5th house the pot of fortune, Lilith, and Juno. Disregard the retrograde that Juno is in. All of them are in Virgo. All of this specifically stands for, you guessed it, fraudulent activity. Specifically pertaining to the entertainment industry, anything that deals with entertainment or anything that can be seen as entertainment, whether it is sports events, anything that has to do with creativity, or anything that has to do with romance. with love affairs, etc., with the prospect of marriage and having children, you name it. The Power of Fortune is there alongside Lilith and Juno. Lilith specifically is weak, quite weak at that. I'm sorry. Yeah, Lilith is quite weak at that. Let's start off with Lilith first, okay? Lilith is in Virgo and it's opposed Saturn. Well, this whole cluster, with the exception of Juno, it is opposed Saturn, but it's kind of weak since the opposition is off by, I think, a degree or at least minutes. So, primarily, officially, Lilith and the Power of Fortune. It stands for fraudulent activity, just bluntly put, scamming. Nigerians are notoriously known for being scammers and being deceptive in nature, and Lilith and Virgo, being in one of the weakest signs, stands for that. Not to mention the opposition with Saturn in Pisces stands for heavy-handed levels of fraudulent activity in the aforementioned areas of life. Although a considerable amount of success is accomplished therein, that's why the Power of Fortune is right next to it. And since I've already brought up Saturn, I might as well treat it as well, the same way I treated the Sun and Mercury. Saturn in Pisces stands for the fact that the majority of these activities, these unsavory activities, are carried out by men. And that's why Saturn is in Pisces. The Pisces stands for obscure, deceptive practices. Or deceptive practices all the while remaining obscure. You can ignore the notes. Pallas is in the 7th house. In Sagittarius, which stands for the fact that there is an interest in foreigners specifically. I mean, that's obvious, so that's a given based on what I've said up to this point, somewhat at least. But it specifically stands for the fact that there is a minor interest in foreigners, and specifically in terms of physical appearance and everything that they have to offer in the way of benefits. That's why it's in the 7th house, the house that deals with relationships of any kind. You know, getting close with someone, getting close to someone, being close with them, you name it. Any kind of relationship of a tight nature, from being best buds to a marriage partner, you name it. Significant other, whatnot. Before I move on, I also need to state that, unsurprisingly, the 7th house, so the house that Libra, so Venus, rules over, is ruled by Scorpio and therefore Mars. The Scorpio specifically stands for the primary motivator. So the reason that people are motivated into undertaking the aforementioned relationships is primarily for financial gain, and specifically financial gain that they can get from the other party, regardless of how the other party comes about their income. So regardless of the source of income of the other party. You've got Ceres in Capricorn, and it's conjunct the 9th house, which simply stands for day-to-day life, consisting of the aforementioned you-know-what. That's why Ceres is positively aspected to the Power of Fortune. It's trine the Power of Fortune. And it's also conjunct the 9th house, which deals with foreign lands as a whole and foreign cultures and foreigners. Now moving on, we've got Pluto, Venus, and Mars all in Aquarius in the 9th house, which stands for, you guessed it, what I've already said up to this point, or what has accumulated up to this point. Especially Pluto being so strong in Aquarius, even this degree. This degree stands for elevation, elevating oneself, or being elevated by others. It simply stands for the fact that there is a strong interest in anything that is foreign in nature. Strong interest in foreigners, foreign lands, foreign countries, and elevating themselves. So Nigerians elevating themselves through foreign dealings. I already treated the Sun and Mercury and Saturn. Neptune in Pisces in the 11th house stands for, like I already said here with Jupiter and Uranus, that there are a couple of bodies of water running through Nigeria in a way of rivers or lakes, or you name it, that the population makes use of. Just overall, anything maybe from fishing to transiting, so transportation by boat, obviously, it just goes on. Bottom line is Neptune is at its strongest in Pisces, and it's in the 11th house that deals with the public overall, which stands for what I just said, the aforementioned. There are a couple of bodies of water running through Nigeria that the population makes use of at a heavy-handed level. So just the overall population, the average Nigerian, more or less, has access to these aforementioned bodies of water. And that's essentially it. We can dismiss Chiron as well. Chiron purely only stands for the fact that you've got minor levels of vegetation running through these bodies of water specifically, or that originate, in a matter of speaking, or indirectly from these bodies of water. Also, in a matter of speaking, indirectly. And that's pretty much it. For the rest, I didn't really notice anything else. Now, let's see exactly how accurate all of this is. Let's deal with the geography first. Nigeria is located in Western Africa on the Gulf of Guinea and has a total area of 923,768 square meters, making it the world's 32nd largest country. You've heard it, so you can see it for yourself, eh? Let me see what else I can mention. Nigeria's most expansive topographical region is that of the valleys of the Niger and Benue River valleys, which merge to form a Y shape. To the southwest of the Niger is a rugged highland. To the southeast of the Benue are hills and mountains, which form the Mambila Plateau, the highest plateau in Nigeria. Again, exactly. So yeah, and this is essentially what it looks like. You can see for yourself these bodies of water running through, minor bodies of water. Look at that. Look at all of that. What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? Okay, and for the rest, I have 3 websites. Top 10 internet scamming countries in the world in 2023. Number 1, Nigeria. Nigeria has been notorious for internet scamming for years. The country has a large population of young people who have been lured into internet fraud as a means of making quick money. The most common form of internet scam in Nigeria is the 419 scam, also known as advance fee fraud, etc., etc., etc. Different websites, Sakura.com. Top 10 scamming countries in the world to be aware of. Number 1, Nigeria. Nigeria is at the top of our list, etc., etc., with the highest rate of being scammed, etc., 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 etc. Another website, top scamming countries in the world in 2023. Number 1, Nigeria. Online scams, blah, 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 blah. Top scams, lottery, crypto, charity, work-at-home job scams, so including 419 scams and or thingy, romance scams. It just goes on. So you've seen it for yourself. Just goes on. There you go. Bye-bye. Until next time.